Okay, so have you ever opened a massive Excel file? I mean, hundreds, maybe thousands of rows deep, and you're just staring at it, wishing there was a better way, a smarter way to just, see what's really going on in there. Or maybe you've been in a meeting, right? And someone flashes this beautiful dashboard up on the screen. It's got all the key metrics, KPIs, key performance indicators, the important numbers showing how the business is doing, plus trends, cool visuals. And you just think, wow, I wish I could build something like that, something that actually tells a story. Well, if any of that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. It's something a lot of us run into. Because, in today's world, everything's data-driven.
Yeah.
Organizations rely on data for pretty much everything. But just having piles of raw data, that isn't really enough, is it? You've got to make sense of it, and you need to do it fast. And that really is where Power BI comes into play. For this deep dive, we looked at some great sources that give a fantastic overview, kind of beginner to expert, of this Microsoft data tool. So yeah, let's dig into it. Let's unpack Power BI and see how it can help you unlock the power hiding in your data. Okay, maybe the best way to start thinking about Power BI is like a smart data storyteller. Imagine you're part of a sales team, for example. You're probably always asking questions, right? Like, which region really did best last quarter? Or are certain product categories maybe growing faster than we thought? Or, maybe shrinking. And the big one, how close are we, really, to hitting those monthly targets? Now, sure, you could spend hours, maybe even days, buried in spreadsheets, slicing, dicing, wrestling with pivot tables, trying to build charts that, actually make sense to people. Or with something like Power BI, you could connect it straight to your sales database, or even just a simple Excel file. Then you use these drag and drop tools to build your visuals, charts, maps, gauges, whatever tells the story. And you end up with this dynamic dashboard. It updates automatically. It clearly tells that whole sales story. And here's the kicker for many people. For a huge amount of this, you don't need to write a single line of code.
Yeah, that accessibility point is, it's really key. Power BI is genuinely built to empower, say, a student just getting curious about a data career. Or maybe a manager who needs to know SQL databases or Python scripts. Or honestly, just anyone who's kind of fed up with staring at endless tables in Excel and wants to actually see their data. Power BI offers something for all of them. It's designed for a really diverse crowd, making complex stuff feel much more approachable.
Okay, so you build these reports, these dashboards. How do people actually use them? Where do they see them?
Right. Good question. It basically breaks down into three main places, three platforms. First, there's Power BI Desktop. That's where you do the building. It's a free Windows application. You design your reports, your data models there. Then, once it's ready, you publish it to the Power BI service. That's the online part. It's cloud-based. That's for sharing, collaborating, managing who sees what securely. And then, for when you're out and about, there's the Power BI mobile app. So you can check those key numbers, those dashboards, right on your phone or tablet.
Gotcha. Desktop for building, service for sharing, mobile for viewing on the go. Makes sense. So let's step back a bit. If we had to give a formal definition, fundamentally, what is Power BI doing?
Okay, fundamentally, Power BI is Microsoft's tool for business intelligence, BI, and data visualization. Its main job, its core purpose, is to take raw data, which can often be messy and overwhelming, right? And turn it into clear, insightful reports and dashboards that you can actually interact with. And the key thing, like you said, is that it lets you do this without needing to be a full-blown data scientist or a coder.
Right. Let's try a concrete example. Say, I've got an Excel file, just straightforward sales data. And I want to know things like, okay, how did sales trend over the last year? Or maybe which product category brought in the most money? Or what are my top 5 sales regions? Quick answers.
Exactly. And this is where you really see the efficiency of Power BI kick in. It lets you get from that raw file to real insights, often surprisingly fast. The process generally follows about 5 steps. 1, you just import that Excel file, simple enough. 2, you clean and transform the data. It has a tool called Power Query for this, which is very visual. Again, mostly no code needed, just clicking and configuring. 3, you create your visuals, bar charts showing sales, maybe a map showing regions, those KPIs you mentioned, trend lines over time. 4, you publish the finished report. Upload it to the Power BI service, the cloud platform. Then you can share it securely with whoever needs to see it, your team, your boss. And 5, people can then view that dashboard on their computer or, like we said, on their phone using the Power BI mobile app. And the amazing part, depending on how clean your data is to start with, you could potentially do all of that from spreadsheet to shared dashboard in, well, maybe less than an hour sometimes. And building on that, it's really important to grasp that Power BI isn't just like one single application. It's better to think of it as a whole ecosystem, a collection of tools and services working together.
An ecosystem. Okay. But what about the people? What about the users? How do they get That's a useful way to put it. So as an ecosystem, what are the main parts? The key components someone new would bump into?
Sure. So the main ones we usually talk about are Power BI Desktop. We covered that it's your main workshop, the free Windows app for creating reports and models. Then Power BI Service. That's the online hub, the cloud part, for publishing, sharing, collaboration, security. Power BI Mobile, obviously. The apps for iOS and Android for viewing on the move. Then there's something called the Power BI Gateway. This one's important if you have data that lives inside your company's network, like on a local server, not in the cloud. The gateway lets you securely connect that on-premises data up to the Power BI service so your reports stay fresh. And one more worth mentioning is the Power BI Report Builder. This is a bit more specialized. It's for creating those pixel-perfect, paginated reports. Think things like invoices or detailed operational reports that need to be laid out precisely, often for printing.
Okay, wow. So desktop is the workshop. Service is the gallery where you show your work. And mobile is like the portable showcase you take with you. I like that analogy. Gateway connects your local tools, and Report Builder is for the fancy printed stuff. All right, so we know it's user-friendly, it's an ecosystem, but what makes it genuinely powerful? What are the standout features that make people in the data world really pay attention?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. There are several things that contribute to its power. First off, the connectivity is huge. It can connect to, I think it's well over 100 different data sources now. We're talking basic stuff like Excel, sure, but also big databases like SQL Server, cloud platforms like Azure and SharePoint, Salesforce, Google Analytics, even directly pulling data from web pages or APIs, so you can bring data in from almost anywhere. Second, it has some pretty neat built-in AI capabilities.
AI. How does that work in a dashboard tool?
Well, it can do things like automatically analyze your data to find trends or point out anomalies you might have missed. Like it might flag an unusual spike in sales for one product or maybe a sudden drop in customer engagement in a certain area. It helps you find insights you weren't even looking for.
Ah, okay. Like an assistant pointing things out.
Sort of, yeah. It turns those hidden patterns into something you can act on. Third, there's DAX. That stands for Data Analysis Expressions. This is kind of the secret sauce for doing really complex calculations and creating custom metrics.
More complex than Excel formulas.
Oh yeah, much more powerful for business logic. Think about calculating things like year-over-year growth, but only for specific customer segments or inventory turn rates or complex time-based comparisons. DAX lets you ask really sophisticated business questions of your data. It has a learning curve, definitely, but it's incredibly powerful. Fourth is the collaboration and sharing side. Because it's cloud-based in the service, it's really easy for teams to work on reports together, share insights, comment without emailing files back and forth. And fifth, automation, especially auto refresh. You can set your reports to automatically pull in the latest data on a schedule so your dashboards are always showing the current picture without you manually hitting refresh all the time. So, while it's easy to get started with the drag and drop stuff, mastering things like DAX or optimizing really large, complex data models, that definitely takes some skill. It opens up deeper career paths. But whether you're just starting out or maybe you're familiar with other BI tools out there like Tableau or Qlik, Power BI really makes its mark with how well it fits into the whole Microsoft 365 ecosystem. It's a constant stream of updates and new features, and frankly, its cost effectiveness, particularly if your organization is already using a lot of Microsoft products.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what we've really seen is that Power BI is more than just a charting tool. It's about transformation, isn't it? Taking that messy, maybe overwhelming raw data and turning it into something clear, something understandable, something actionable. It really feels like it's democratizing data analysis, making it something that more people in an organization can do, not just the specialists. Empowering better decisions, hopefully.
Exactly. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, connecting it to the bigger picture. We live in a world that's just swimming in information, saturated with data, but the real power today isn't just having the data. Lots of people have data. The power lies in your ability to quickly, effectively turn that data into a clear, compelling story. A story that makes sense, persuades, and drives action. So maybe the question to mull over after this is, what data story could you start telling with the information you have access to?